solve another Leetcode problem. 1352, product of the last k numbers. So this problem is easy to understand, but it's not so easy to do. So let's try to understand the problem. So we have a product of numbers. So this is just a class, and inside there are going to be two methods. One is add and one is get product, and with an integer k. So the add is just a number. So for example, we're going to put a number inside an array. So for example, maybe an array, maybe something else. But for the add is just to add a number. So for example, we can add a number 3 and 0, 2 and 5 or 4. But we can also use the get product method and with a k value. So this k is the last k numbers. So if we use the get product 2, it means we're gonna return 20 because 5 times 4 is 20. If we use the get product 3, it's gonna be 40. 20 times 2 is 40. If we use the get product 4, it is a 0 because there's a 0 inside. If we use the get product 2, if we put 8 again, if we put 8 inside and use get product 2, we got 32. So we cannot use the brute force to solve the problem. Otherwise, it's gonna be because there are 4 times 10 to the power of 4 calls of get product. So for each of the product, if we use the brute force, it's gonna be k. So it's gonna be k squared. So this is gonna be a really big number. Normally it cannot pass. Yeah, because this is just the brute force method. But we cannot use a method like that. We have to find a trick to solve the problem. So for an array, if there's no zeros, it's gonna be easy to calculate. For example, we have 1, 2, 3. If we can use the prefix sum, but here we're gonna use the prefix product. It's gonna be 1, 2, and 6. So yeah, if we can use a product, prefix product, something like this. So 1 times 2, it is a 2. 3 times 2, it is a 6. So if we were to get the last two numbers, if this k equals to 2, we can calculate it easily. We can just use the 6 divided by 1. Yeah, because there are two numbers, we're gonna use the first number from the right side, and then we're gonna choose 1 or 2. Because k equals to 2, we're gonna choose this number. So 6 divided by 1, the result is gonna be 6. So if k equals to 2, as we know that 2 times 3, it is a 6. Yeah, so we're gonna use this kind of a prefix sum to solve the problem. But the problem is that we have a 0. This is the trick part. But what if we have a 0 inside? What's gonna happen? So if we still use the prefix sum, let's see what's gonna happen. It's gonna be 1 and 0, because 0 times 1 is 0. 2 times 0, it is 0 and 0. Can we use this one to calculate it? No, we cannot. For example, we're gonna calculate the last two numbers. It's 0 and 0. We cannot use that. So this means we're gonna design a trick to solve the problem. But what should the trick be like? So the number is gonna be something like this. So for example, if we have a 1, 0 or some other numbers 1, 1, 1 or 2, 3, yeah. So maybe here we have another 0. So what's gonna happen if we add a 0 inside of the array immediately? So no matter which k it is, definitely the result gonna be 0. Why? Because we add a 0 inside immediately, and then we're gonna calculate the last k numbers. But what if we know we just add a 0, append a 0 at the end of the array? So we should know that, so the result would always be 0. Yeah. But what if we put other numbers? For example, it is 1. So we know that for the last, if k equal to 1, the last number must be 1 if k equal to 1. What if k equal to 2, 3 or others? Definitely it's gonna be 0. Why? Because from here it's gonna be 0. 0 times any number from the left side gonna always be 0. So this means we're gonna design a specific data structure for our problem. Yeah, if it is always if we have a 0, we can see that if we have a 0 previously, if we have a 0, but what is the last number for this one? It is 1. what is the last two numbers? It is a 0. So this means we're gonna design a data structure. So if we have something like that, if we have a 0, we're gonna design an array as 1. So I didn't think about this one. I also learned some other method. If you did the similar problems, maybe you can solve it. Maybe you can think about it. Yeah, maybe for this time you didn't find this solution. Maybe, oh, you can use an array as 1 if we find a 0. Now you can solve it. Yeah, let's try to understand how can we solve it. If the previous number is 0, we're gonna prepare the nums as 1. Now, what if we put 1 inside? What's gonna happen? Yeah, so before, if this is 1, this array inside there is a 1, it means we find a 0 for the previous number. But what if the current number is 1? So if the current number is 1, what are we gonna do? We're gonna just use the prefix sum. So 1 and 1 inside, because this 1 times 1, it is still 1, we just append it there. So we have 1 and 1. So how to calculate the last one number? Because currently, actually, for this array, there's only one number inside, it is 1. So the last number is just this one divided by this one. So this is why we prepare a 1 inside, because 1 is easy for the calculation, because any number divided by 1, it is still this number. So for example, x divided by 1, it is still x if this x is more than 0. So yeah, if we put a number 1 inside, 1 divided by 1, it is 1. So this means we can calculate the result. For example, if we put a 2 inside, so it means 1 times 2, it's gonna be 2. What about the last two numbers? It's gonna be this 2 divided by this 1. Yeah, this 2 divided by this 1, it is still 2. 2 is our result. So this is just a padding. This is just a padding for the prefix sum. Because we have zeros, so we're gonna prepare a 1. Now let's go back to the coding part. So from the beginning, we don't have anything, but we're gonna put a number inside. We don't know which number it is, but we're gonna define the self.nums as a 1. We just imagine from the beginning there's nothing, but we're gonna think what if there's a 0 from the beginning, but it doesn't matter. We're gonna prepare a padding as 1. Now we're gonna add the numbers. We're gonna check if num equal to 0. What are we gonna do? So the self.nums should equal to 1. We're gonna prepare a 1. Else, if it is not 0, so self.nums should append a value. So this value gonna be self.nums minus 1 times the number, because we are preparing the prefix sum. So this is the last number. Append the last number times the current number. Now we're gonna check the get products. So for the get product, we're gonna check the array, the length of the array. So if this k, yeah, so we're gonna, so for example, let's just use an example. For example, from beginning we put a 1 inside, so this is nothing. If we want to add a number, so for example, we're gonna add a 1 inside. Now we are going to calculate the last number. For example, this k equal to 1. Yeah. If this k equal to 1, we can calculate the result. But what if this k equals to 2? That is not possible, right? Yeah. So this means what if we don't add any number? We have a 1 inside, and let's just try some other examples. Maybe we're gonna put a 1 inside, and next, while we put a 0 inside the array, what's gonna happen? If we put a 0, if we want to add a 0, it means the previous number for calculating this k is 0. If we add a 0 inside, what's gonna happen? So our nums array becomes 1. So because self.nums, we're gonna prepare a 1. Yeah. But for our calculation, actually inside the array, the numbers would be 1 and 0. 1 and 0. What if we want to calculate the last number? For example, k equal to 1. actually it should be 0. Yeah, but how can we calculate it? As we know, this k equal to 1 and the length of the array is also 1. So if the length of the array is less than and equal to k, so this means the result gonna be 0. For example, if we were to calculate this k equal to 2, so k equal to 2, but the length of the array is still 1. If the length of the array is still 1, this means there's no possible answers. So we can have a attack. So if k more than and equal to the length of the array self.nums, so this means there's no possible result. Definitely it's gonna be 0. Otherwise, we're gonna use the prefix sum. So it's gonna be the self.nums minus 1 divided by self.nums. We're gonna use a minus k, but the number should at 1 position before it. So minus k should minus 1. Yeah, let me do an operation. Maybe you can understand it easily. So we're gonna try an example. We're gonna try this example. Maybe, yeah, we're gonna try the example 1. So from the beginning, we're gonna put 3 inside the result. So inside our array, we're gonna put 3 inside, and then we find a 0. Yeah, because we're gonna add the 0 inside. So what we're gonna do? We will ignore this 3 because it doesn't matter. Yeah, so we're gonna set the array to be 1. If we set the array to be 1, what's gonna be the next? The next, we're gonna add 2. So the result would be 1 and 2. And then we're gonna add a 5. So 2 times 5 is gonna be 10. And what's gonna be the next? It's gonna be 4. So we're gonna put 4 inside. So it's gonna be 40 because 4 times 10 it is 40. What about next? Next we're gonna get product 2. So if we were to get product 2, we can calculate it easily. 40 divided by 2, it is 20. Then if we were to get product 3, 40 divided by 1, it is 40. Next, get product 4. So if we were to get product 4, we cannot do that. Why? Because we only have 3 numbers. So this array, if this array, the length of the array is 4, it means we only have 3 numbers. But we want to calculate 4 numbers. Because this is 4, it is not possible. So this means if this k is more than and equal to the length of the array. So for example, this k equal to 4, and the length of the array is also 4. So we're gonna return 0. It means it's not possible. Next, we're gonna add 8. So if we add 8 inside, it's gonna be 320 at the end. And then we're gonna get product 2. 320 divided by 10, it is 32 for the last result. Yeah, so actually this is the trick part of this algorithm. Actually we need to prepare the self.nums to be 1, not 0. And then we're gonna append the possible numbers at the end. Then we're gonna use this k with the length of the nums to compare. If k is more than or equal, we're gonna return 0. So this just means we don't have so many numbers. Yeah, because after or we don't have so many numbers, or after that number, definitely it's gonna be 0. So we're gonna return the 0. Otherwise, this means we can calculate. So we're gonna use the prefix sum to calculate. Now let me run it to suck. Yeah, this one should be this one should be the self.nums. As you can see, it works. Now let me submit it to prove that it works. As you can see, it works and it's pretty fast. Thank you for watching. See you next time.